The story begins with scenes of people being brutally tortured. One man pours boiling water on their bodies, making their skin peel off. Some are burned alive, while others are drowned for hours. A priest named Cristóvão Ferrer is forced to watch all of it. The reason these people are being punished is because of him. He had converted them to Christianity. It's the year 1663, a time when Japan banned any outside religion. Anyone who tried to follow or spread another faith was executed. Some prisoners are told to step on an image of Jesus Christ. Those who obey are spared, but anyone who refuses is tortured and then killed. Years later, we meet two priests who were once students of Cristóvão Ferrer. An Italian priest shows them a letter Ferrer sent from Japan. In it, Ferrer claims that he has changed his faith and become a Buddhist. The two young priests are shocked. Ferrer was a man who would die for his beliefs. They can't believe he would abandon his faith. Determined to find the truth, they decide to travel to Japan to find him. The Italian priest warns them not to go, saying Japan is extremely dangerous for Christians. If you go, he says, you'll meet the same fate as Father Ferrer. But the two priests are stubborn and insist on going anyway. Eventually, the Italian priest agrees. The next day, they meet a Chinese man who will smuggle them into Japan. They also bring along a Japanese man named Kichijiro. He tells them that his family was burned alive for following Christianity. After a long and tiring journey, the three finally reach Japan. Kichijiro steps into the water and tells them to follow quietly. But as they move through the dark, Kichijiro suddenly disappears. The priests think he has betrayed them, but that's not true. A few moments later, a group of Japanese villagers carrying torches approaches and tells them they've reached Japan. The villagers warn them that the area isn't safe and that they must leave before anyone sees them. Rodrigues and Francisco follow the villagers to safety. An old man tells them that Christians are being hunted more than ever, so they must hide carefully. The villagers believe their prayers have been answered, that God has sent these priests to help them. Rodrigues notices their fear and asks how they've managed to keep their faith alive. They explain that they pray in secret and hide all Christian symbols before the guards arrive. One man even shows Rodrigues a picture of Jesus hidden under a mat. Rodrigues learns that anyone who reports a Christian gets 100 silver coins, and anyone who reports a priest earns 300. He decides they must visit other villages to spread hope and let others know they're there. He also asks if anyone has heard about Father Ferrer, but no one knows anything. The next day, the villagers take Rodrigues and Francisco to a small hut with a secret room. They warn them, only open the door if we knock twice. No matter what happens outside, do not come out. The priests hide there for days. Over time, Francisco begins to lose patience. Frustrated, he says, these people are terrified. Fear controls them completely, and we don't even know if Ferrer is alive. No one here has even heard his name. Rodrigues tells Francisco that these people have no one else to rely on. If they don't stay strong for them, the villagers might lose their faith completely. He then sends Kichijiro to Nagasaki to find out what happened to Father Ferrer. Francisco disagrees, saying, we can't trust that drunkard. He hasn't even shown up since he brought us here. Days pass as they continue hiding. One day, Francisco becomes restless and steps outside. The two of them lie under the open sky, trying to relax. While they're resting, Francisco spots some people who seem to have noticed them. Alarmed, they quickly rush back into hiding and stay inside the whole day out of fear. That evening, they hear voices outside calling them to come out. But since there's no double knock, the agreed signal, they stay quiet. Rodrigues starts to think maybe these are people from another village. Ignoring Francisco's warning, he goes outside and stops the strangers before they can leave. He realizes they're villagers who need help. Rodrigues cleans their wounded feet and prays for them. They tell him that they heard about the priests from Kichijiro, who is also a Christian like them. Rodrigues and Francisco are surprised because they thought he had no faith left. The villagers explained that 8 years ago, Kichijiro's whole family was captured. They were told to insult Jesus in public. Kichijiro saved his life by stepping on the picture, but his wife and family refused, and they were burned alive before his eyes. Hearing this, the priests feel deep sorrow for him. The next day, Rodrigues and Francisco plan to visit other villages to encourage the hidden Christians, but the village chief, Mokichi, warns them not to go, saying it's too dangerous. Despite this, Rodrigues insists on going, while Francisco stays to help the villagers. When Rodrigues reaches another village, he finds Kichijiro there. The people welcome him warmly, showing that their faith is still strong despite all the suffering. An old man tells Rodrigues that he once saw Father Ferrer in Nagasaki, the place where captured Christians are taken. Rodrigues notices that these villagers need something tangible to hold on to their belief. He gives them small crosses made from husk and one bead from his rosary. The people are overjoyed. He then calls Kichijiro to give him a bead, but Kichijiro runs away, feeling unworthy of forgiveness. He believes his sins are too heavy for Jesus to forgive. Rodrigues follows him and tells him to confess. Kichijiro breaks down in tears while confessing, showing how much pain he's carried all these years. Meanwhile, somewhere else, an old man is captured by Japanese people. They are the same men who helped purge Christians from the village. Mokichi says they pray at the Buddha temple and pay taxes every year, so why are they being punished? The man answers, "You are good people, but I have a problem with those who secretly follow another faith. We have a report they are here. He pulls out a bag of silver coins and says anyone who tells where they hide will get the money. If no one gives information in 3 days, he will take 3 more people, and one of them will be Mokichi. That night, the villagers gather again. Mokichi says they will give their lives, but they will not let the priests be harmed. Rodrigues knows that if he stays, the villagers will be picked off one by one. He decides to go to Kichijiro's village, but some people from Kichijiro's village warn him not to, saying it could endanger them too. They argue. After heated talk, the old man tells Rodrigues and Francisco to hide in this village. One man steps forward and says he will be one of the 4 who volunteer to be taken. They still need one more person. The crowd turns to Kichijiro and asks him to offer himself. Kichijiro refuses at first, but pressured by everyone, he finally agrees. The next day, they make preparations to move the 2 priests to a safer place. Mokichi and the 4 volunteers ready themselves to die. Mokichi asks, "What will we do if they still don't leave the villagers alone?" Rodrigues says, "Do what they ask and God will forgive." Francisco objects, saying it feels wrong before God. Soon, the searchers return. They force the villagers to trampling on a picture of Jesus. Rodrigues watches hidden. 4 chosen men step on the picture for the village's safety. But the searchers say they breathe too fast and still doubt them. They pull out a cross and order each man to spit on. Only Kichijiro spit. He is set free. The others are bound to a large cross and left to die. Days pass. The sea's waves beat their bodies like whips. One by one, they die. First, an old man drowns, then another succumbs to pain. Mokichi remains hanging for 4 days until hunger and thirst take him, and his body is burned without a proper burial. Rodrigues and Francisco watch in horror. For Rodrigues, it is like living through hell. He had believed a death could be holy, that God hears the prayers of the dying. Now he wonders if God can hear those screams. Francisco feels cowardly inside and urges Rodrigues to return so more lives won't be lost. But Rodrigues will not go back until he finds Father Ferrer. The 2 men part way. Rodrigues travels alone to Kichijiro's village. When he arrives, he finds the whole place burned down and empty. He searches everywhere, calling out for people, but no one is left. Exhausted and hopeless, he collapses and falls asleep among the ruins. When he wakes the next morning, he sees a small fire nearby. As he stumbles forward, weak from hunger, he suddenly faints. Kichijiro finds him and carries him to a safer spot away from the village. He offers Rodrigues some food, but Rodrigues refuses to eat from the hands of a man who betrayed his faith. Kichijiro warns him to leave quickly because his life is in danger, but Rodrigues ignores him and keeps walking toward his goal. Soon, thirst and heat overwhelm him. Kichijiro runs to get water, but when he returns, he accidentally spills it all. He then takes Rodrigues to a nearby river. Rodrigues drinks deeply and sees his reflection in the water. Seeing his worn-out face, he bursts into strange laughter, realizing how far he's fallen. But this moment of rest doesn't last. Kichijiro betrays him once again. Soldiers appear, surrounding Rodrigues. They toss Kichijiro a handful of silver coins for his betrayal, and he pretends he doesn't understand why they're arresting the priest. Rodrigues is captured and placed among other prisoners. Looking at their calm faces, he shouts angrily, asking how they can be so peaceful while facing death. None of them answer. They believe dying for God will lead them to heaven. Soon, the Inquisitor arrives. He orders everyone except Rodrigues to be taken away. He tells Rodrigues, "We don't hate you, but your God has no place in Japan. Just admit there's no God, and we'll let you go." Rodrigues refuses. The Inquisitor smiles cold. "We've learned," he says, "killing priests only makes your faith stronger. But if you truly care for these people, stop making them suffer for your pride." Rodrigues is locked in a small cave. A man named Asano visits him, a translator who tells Rodrigues that if he doesn't renounce his faith, they'll hang him upside down and drain his blood drop by drop. Asano mentions Ferrer, who once faced the same torture but gave up his faith and now lives peacefully with a family in Japan. Later, Rodrigues is tied up and paraded through the village. People throw stones and insult him as he walks. Eventually, he's brought before the Inquisitor again. The man praises his courage but tells him he's wasting his life. "Your faith may work in Portugal or Spain," he says, "but not here. A tree that grows in one land dies in another. Your religion will never take root in Japan." Rodrigues argues back. He says there were once more than 300,000 Christians in Japan, until they were hunted, tortured, and forced to change their faith. The Inquisitor, tired of arguing, ends the discussion and orders him taken away. After that, they put Rodrigues back in the cave. One day, Kichijiro comes to see him and says he didn't betray them for money, but the guards still beat him and lock him up too. The other prisoners warn Rodrigues not to trust Kichijiro, saying he's there to spy on them. Still, Rodrigues forgives him. The next day, the guards take some Christians outside and order them to step on a picture of Jesus. Everyone is afraid, but no one disrespects the image, so the guards cut off a man's head and bury him. Then, they bring out another man who has been tortured for many weeks. He quickly steps on the picture of Jesus, and the guards let him go free. That evening, Rodrigues is brought before the Inquisitor again. The Inquisitor tells him a story about a man with 4 wives. Each wife was beautiful, but they always fought. One day, the man became tired of them and sent all 4 away. After that, his life became peaceful again. The Inquisitor asks Rodrigues what he thinks. Rodrigues says the man did the right thing. He was wise to bring peace to his home. Then the Inquisitor says, "Now imagine that man is Japan, and his 4 wives are England, Spain, Holland, and Portugal. If Japan removes these countries from here to have peace, What's wrong with that? If all four stay, only trouble will come. There is no place for outsiders in Japan. The next day, Rodrigues sees soldiers forcing Christian girls to go with them. A while later, he too is told to follow. They take him to the seashore, saying they have something to show him. Soon, Rodrigues sees Francisco. He has also been caught. The guards tie the girls' hands and feet and lead them into deep water. They tell Francisco that if he gives up his faith, the girls will be saved, but Francisco refuses. So, they throw the girls into the sea. Francisco tries to save them, but the guards drown him too. Rodrigues is made to watch from a distance. When he breaks down crying, Asano says, "What kind of priest are you? You let innocent people die for your pride. Is this what your God wants?" That night, Rodrigues cries bitterly, and his mind begins to break. The next day, they take him to a Buddhist temple to meet a special person. Asano looks excited, smiling as if waiting for this moment. Soon, Ferrer appeared. His face and walk completely changed. Rodrigues can't believe his eyes. Ferrer has become a Buddhist monk. There's a strange emptiness in his eyes, as if he's suffered deep. When Rodrigues asks him questions, Ferrer gives unclear answers and pretends to be happy. Asano tells Ferrer to talk about the book he's been writing. Rodrigues learns that the Japanese made Ferrer write against Christianity so it would never grow again. Ferrer says, "I preached here for more than 15 years, and now I see Japan doesn't need Jesus. You should understand this too," Asano adds. No one should interfere with another's faith. This is Buddha's way. Buddha never saw himself as higher than humans like your Jesus does. When there's so much to share, one shouldn't try to win alone. But that's what you're doing. Ferrer tells Rodrigues that if he doesn't obey, they will cut his neck slightly and hang him upside down until every drop of blood leaves his body. He says they did the same thing to him once. Through a flashback, we see the moment when Ferrer stepped on the picture of Jesus, completely broke him inside. Asano then tells Rodrigues that he is the last priest in Japan, so they won't torture him like that. Their methods have changed. Instead, they will punish the Christians until Rodrigues gives up his faith. The next day, Rodrigues is taken to the Inquisitor's house. People throw stones at him along the way. Asano says, "Look, you came for these people, but they hate you." That night, Rodrigues hears the painful cries of people being tortured. A while later, Ferrer comes to him and says, "These words on the wall were written when I was a prisoner here too. If you want to pray, do it with your eyes open." Rodrigues looks and sees 5 Christians hanging upside down, slowly dying as their blood drips away. Heartbroken, he begs them to give up Christianity to save themselves. But Ferrer tells him they already did. "They're suffering because of you," Ferrer said. "If Jesus were in your place, he would have done the same. Listen to them and step on the picture." Then, Ferrer places the picture of Jesus in front of him. Everyone watches closely. Rodrigues stares at the image and suddenly hears a voice say, "Step on." His strength breaks, and he finally steps on. As soon as he does, Asano orders everyone to be freed. Rodrigues has now become a Buddhist monk. Children mock him, but he no longer reacts. He was the last priest to come to Japan. After him, no priest came for the next 250 years. Rodrigues' duty now is to make sure no Christian or foreign religious item enters Japan. Only the Dutch and a few Europeans are allowed to trade. We see a man watching all this silently. Soon after, Ferrer died, and Rodrigues takes on all his duty. One day, the Inquisitor calls Rodrigues and says a Japanese man has died in another village. He had a wife, a son, and a maid. The Inquisitor tells Rodrigues, "From today, you will live under his name. His wife will now be your wife." He adds that they've left some Christians nearby to comfort him. Many years pass. Rodrigues grows old. Every few months, the Japanese make him step on the image of Jesus to make sure his faith never returns. Kichijiro stays with him all this time. But one day, he's caught with a Christian image and disappears forever. Rodrigues dies in 1662. His wife doesn't shed a single tear. The man who was once Father Rodrigues ends up exactly how they wanted him to be. His body is cremated with full Buddhist ritual. In his hand, hidden from everyone, is a small cross that burns with him, leaving behind a mystery. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching.